Hi everyone, it's your host Robin, and today I'm here with you to discuss a very interesting topic. And this is something which is very relatable for me, and I've been going through this since a long time. So, today we are going to talk about imposter syndrome. And for some of you who do not know what is imposter syndrome, I'll be explaining you briefly. Okay, so the word imposter means imposter is somebody who is trying to be someone else to gain advantage, and this is mostly done in a fraudulent way. So it's basically deceiving, okay? So you're pretending to be somebody else to gain some advantage. So this is what imposter means. So what does imposter syndrome means, and how does it matter, and why are we talking about this? Because it does matter. Around 70% of world's most successful people have imposter syndrome. And many of you who is listening to this might also have imposter syndrome and you might not even know this. So if you do not know this, just stick around to figure out whether you have it or not. If you have it, just stick around to listen to me, and I'll be sharing the tips and tricks how I am coping up with my imposter syndrome and what can we do about it and how it happens. So there is not much clarity on it that what causes imposter syndrome, but it is very common. Like I said, many high achieving people have imposter syndrome, and it's mostly seen in high achiever women and also academics. Okay, so I'll be starting with some excerpts that you can relate with if you ever felt this way. So just let me know if you ever felt this way. So have you been in a situation where you feel that the things you have got in your life and the success which you have been experiencing lately is just a fluke, and it is not something that you deserve. It's just something that is happening to you. So most of the people who have imposter syndrome, you might hear them saying that I just got lucky, and this is not something I have done by myself, and this is just I might have been given some sort of advantage by other people, or there are external sources behind this. So all these things. And this is how imposter syndrome looks like on the exterior, and this is how people sound when they have imposter syndrome. And what goes in their head, people who have imposter syndrome, they are they're mostly people who have a lot of self doubts. I might not say that they have lack of self esteem or any issues with the confidence or any doubt in their competence. They know they are competent, but they still have this imposter syndrome because they are high achievers and they are always trying to do their best, and even the slightest and smallest of things can trigger this. And in most of the cases, even when things are going right, many people will feel that they don't deserve it, and this is not what should happen to them. So I'll briefly tell you about my imposter, that how I figured this out and when did I realize that I also have imposter syndrome. So it's not very long time back. I recently discovered, I can say like 3 4 years back, when I joined into PhD, and I always had this problem since childhood, but I never realized that it has a name, and many people do not realize that this is something that exists. So when I started the PhD, I used to think that when seeing around other people and my batchmates, I used to think that oh God, I just got lucky, and maybe there will be some time in the future where all these people will find out that I do not belong here. So these are the feeling which imposter people who have imposter syndrome feels. They feel they do not belong in the room. They feel that they are not the one who deserve all this, the kind of attention or the kind of rewards they are getting for their hard work, even though they are competent. It's not about that they have self doubts. They are competent, they got it by their hard work and talent, but they still feel they do not deserve it. So I used to feel it this way, and every single day I used to feel. I can say at least for 3 years in PhD, I had this feeling every time I saw people giving talks and my peers and friends. I always felt that they're just better, and maybe I am not ready for this, or maybe I'm not the one for this. So this is how I figured out, and it took me some time and started doing some research to understand how and why do I feel this way, because I knew I am competent and I knew I can do this, and this is what I've got because of my talent and hard work. So I bumped onto this realization that I have something called imposter syndrome. And later, as earlier we were talking about how this happens, so there are many factors that can lead to imposter syndrome. It doesn't have to be a childhood thing. It can occur any time in your life. Uh, if you are the person who is towards perfectionism, if you need everything to be perfect, and if you have a lot of self doubt, these things can lead to imposter, and it can happen anytime. If you have parents who put a lot of pressure on you to perform best all the time, and they make you feel that you are superior, and then you have to live up to their expectations. So basically you need to you get into that habit of doing your best, and always putting your best, but still at times, even when you make slightest of mistake, and even when you feel that you are in a room full of people who look smart and who might be as smart as you are, you start comparing yourself with them, and then all this imposter syndrome kicks in. Okay, so this is how it happens, and it can also happen to people who never had any problem growing while they're growing, but they get into some competitive job environment, and then this kicks in. It's really a bad thing, and imposter is something that really interferes with our lives. We are not able to enjoy our victories. We are not able to enjoy even the slightest of good thing that happen in our lives because of the imposter we have. We're always criticizing ourselves, and we are thinking we do not belong here. So for us, we feel imposter people feel that they have the success means happiness. So when they succeed into something and still doesn't lead happiness, so they drive for more and they try to achieve more so that they want to have more happiness, but it never happens. The more they get, the more they want. And most of the times when they are getting success, they do not hold themselves accountable for that success, so it actually pushes them more to put their best and do more so that they can achieve more success. But this vicious cycle goes on, and they never feel content, they never feel happy. So definitely it's not a good thing to have. It's going to interfere with your life, and sometimes it can lead to completely lacking a lack of motivation if you keep on going like this. So today I'll be sharing some of the tips which I've got, and I also researched on it, and I found, and I've been listening to people who have given talks on it, and listening to people who have imposter syndrome, and people who have shared their tips, and how we can get rid of it. So it's not a very unusual thing. Many people have imposter, and I won't say that we can completely get rid of the this problem, because it will still exist. There will be times in our lives when we'll be surrounded by people who seem better than us, and then we might be judging ourselves whether maybe we do not belong. And there will be times when we try something new, and we do not have a complete grip on it, and we feel that okay, maybe this is not for me, and maybe I don't know how I've got here, maybe it was just a fluke. So times like these cannot be avoided, but our perspective can be changed. So first thing is to be aware. We need to have this awareness, because until I knew about this problem, I always believed that voice in my head. I always believed that I'm not good enough. Maybe I should not be here. Maybe tomorrow somebody will come and tell me, we know that how you have done it. This is just a fluke. So, the most important thing here is to understand that you have imposter, and it's really normal. I've been one of the one of the seminar, which was there was a talk by Dr. Venkatraman Ramakrishnan, who is a Nobel laureate in chemistry. He said one thing. He said, whenever I go and whenever I go anywhere, I always ask this question to my audience: do you have imposter syndrome? Because many people, many scientists have imposter syndrome. And he said he has not even met a single person who has said that I do not have imposter syndrome, until he met a person in, I think, in Mumbai, who, like, the guy was in the audience and he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I do not have imposter syndrome. So to that, Dr. Venki said, people who say they do not have imposter syndrome sometimes don't even know what is imposter syndrome. So it's very, very common, and some people do not pay much attention to it, and it doesn't get a hold onto their lives. But for some people, it's a real problem. And for those people, the first thing is to have awareness about imposter syndrome, that this is real and this is something that happens. So when I have this realization that I had imposter syndrome, every time I had that voice in my head which was telling me that I do not belong here, maybe I'm not good enough, there are things which you can do to shut down that voice. You can create your own voice, your hero voice, which will tell this negative voice that no, I belong here, that's why I'm here. Maybe don't know everything, but I will practice, I will learn, and I can be here. And second, I think discussing this with other people helps a lot, because when I hear all these big people, successful people telling that they have imposter syndrome, people who are entrepreneur, people who are scientists, Nobel laureates, who are saying they have imposter syndrome, I realize I'm not the only one, and I realize that this is common and this should not affect our lives. So discussing this with other people is really important. And the third thing, which which was said by Tanya Cotton. She said that for imposter syndrome, you have to be your own hero, and you have to make a list of things which you are doing right and how you have got where you are right now. So you make a list every time you give a good presentation, every time you achieve something, or if you motivate somebody, and if you lead a team, you need to highlight those points, maybe make your own file and make that file, and every time you feel that you do not belong to that place where you have done these things, you need to go back and check that file, and you need to, you know, maybe see it in your notes and realize that these are the things you have done, and you are worthy, and you have whole right to be here and to be happy and to enjoy your victory. Okay, so this is something that can definitely help. And if this goes all out of hand, it's okay. It's okay to talk to a therapist. It's okay to find a professional help and discuss with people. If you feel this is interfering with your life, you can talk to people who can help you with all this. So I hope these tips can help you. And the one thing which I have done in my life, I continue to hear that voice, and I always shut down that voice by saying, I deserve to be here and I am good enough. And then I also discuss with people, and this has really helped me, and I hope this would also help you. And if you have any more suggestions regarding this, and that can help people with imposter syndrome. And if you want to share your stories on imposter syndrome, please write to us in the comment section. And if you liked it, please like it, share it, and subscribe it. I would love to have this kind of discussion on different topics. And if you have any topic for me to do, I would love to take it. And I just love talking to you. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you liked it. Bye bye.